Irkutsk is the largest city and administrative center of Irkutsk Oblast, Russia, with a population of 617,473 as of the 2010 census. Irkutsk is the 25th largest city in Russia by population, the 5th largest in the Siberian Federal District, and one of the largest cities in Siberia, located in the south of the eponymous oblast. The city proper lies on the Angara River, a tributary of the Yenisei. About 850 kilometers and Trans-Siberian Railway connect Irkutsk to other regions in Russia and Mongolia. Many distinguished Russians were sent into exile in Irkutsk for their part in the Decembrist revolt of 1825, and the city became an exile post for the rest of the century. Some historic wooden houses still survive. When the railway reached Irkutsk, it had earned the nickname of the Paris of Siberia. The city was the center of bitter fighting in the Russian Civil War of 1918-20. Afterward, in the Soviet period, its architecture was dominated by the mandatory squared-up style. The city became a major center of aircraft manufacture. The historic center of Irkutsk is located on UNESCO's tentative list of World Heritage Sites. Irkutsk was named after the Irkut River. Its name was derived from the Buryat word for spinning, and was used as an ethnonym among local tribes, who were known as Yerkhu, Irkut, Irgut, and Irjit. The city was formerly known as Yandashsky after the local Tuvan chief Yandashagorogi. The old spelling of the name of the city was Irkutsk. Before the revolution, the city was called East Paris, Siberian Petersburg, Siberian Athens. Locals like to think of their city as middle of the earth. In 1652, Ivan Pokhabov built a zimovye near the site of Irkutsk for gold trading and for collecting fur taxes from the Buryats. In 1661, Yakov Pokhabov built an ostrog nearby. The ostrog gained official town rights from the government in 1686. The Irkutsk prison, founded in 1661 as an outpost for the advancement of Russian explorers in the Angara region, soon ceased to be only a defensive structure due to the advantage of its geographical position. According to historical documents, 10 years later, in 1671, here, in addition to servicemen and Yarsek people, lived ploughed peasants with their wives and children. A pusad appeared, which gave rise to residential quarters of the future city. As for the prison itself, as its influence in the region grew, it was completely rebuilt twice, expanding in size. The fate of the prison was such that its military defensive significance was less noticeable than other previously erected forts near the Angars. For example, Bratisk with barns and cellars. The Church of the Savior, quote, small town, was the administrative center of the vast Irkutsk province since 1731. In the big city, as the Pusad was called, the commercial and economic life of Irkutsk was concentrated. It was inhabited mainly by people from the northern regions of Russia. Veliki Ustyug, Yarensk, Pinega, Solvychigda, Pereslaval-Zalsky, who brought their traditions, customs, and culture to Siberia. The first road connection between Moscow and Irkutsk, the Siberian Route, was built in 1760, and benefited the town economy. Many new products, often imported from China via Kyakhta, became widely available in Irkutsk for the first time, including gold, diamonds, fur, wood, silk, and tea. In 1821, as part of the Mikhail Speransky's reforms, Siberia was administratively divided at the Yenisei River. Irkutsk became the seat of the Governor-General of East Siberia. In the early 19th century, many Russian artists, officers, and nobles were sent into exile in Siberia for their part in the Decembrist revolt against Tsar Nicholas I. Irkutsk became the major center of intellectual and social life for these exiles, and they developed much of the city's cultural heritage. They had wooden houses built that were adorned with ornate, hand-carved decorations. Many still survive today, in stark contrast with the standard Soviet apartment blocks that surround them. By the end of the 19th century, the population consisted of one exiled man for every two locals, people of varying backgrounds, from members of the Decembrist uprising to Bolsheviks. had been in Irkutsk for many years and had greatly influenced the culture and development of the city. As a result, Irkutsk became a prosperous cultural and educational center in eastern Siberia. From 1848 to 1861, Count Nikolai Muravyov-Amursky was the governor-general. He annexed the Amur territory to Russia. However, on the spot he showed unbridled despotism and extreme cruelty. Since the opening of communication along the Amur in 1854, on the way from St. Petersburg to the Pacific Ocean, the old Irkutsk tract began to decline. The population of the city is 28,000. Of them there were 3,768 exiles. In 1879, on July 4 and 6, a fire burned out of control, destroying the palace of the governor-general and the principal administrative and municipal officers. Many of the other public buildings